Hey everyone, this is JD and P2 and JD. The order is the second one I said, not the first one. And we're back to the adventures of the Great Ace Attorney. I got that backwards too. I'm on a roll. How are you?
I begin to think
I'm doing good. How about you?
Oh, you know me, just tripping all over my words.
I mean, technically everyone, JD is leading because he knows more about this than I am, so it's fine if you go ahead and say your name first.
that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea.
Herbal tea.
Leading him
Oh, I like
to the
herbal tea.
distant memory of that snowy evening.
You do?
To the young
No,
lady
not really.
collapsed on the pavement along
I was like, this is new to me.
and to the knife.
No, I mean, I only drink tea when I'm sick, but,
Lit in
I
the
don't
soft
normally
glow
drink
of
tea.
gas lamps, a most extraordinary
But if you got
scene
cocoa, though.
set.
I do have cocoa. I have hot cocoa pods.
Oh, snap, okay then. I know what to ask for.
Insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Oh, dear. I am wondering, though, is this isn't like the time Jack the Ripper is here, is it?
I think this might have taken place after Jack the Ripper died, but I don't quite know.
Yeah, 'cause I was about to say this would be quite scary if he showed up.
Yes. 19th of February, 9:47 in the morning, back in Lord Chief Justice's office.
Oh boy.
Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo?
No, not at all.
It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms are so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day in the middle of the night.
What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Booty, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Dang, man.
Yes. It is really the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, when I learnt that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned to a nightmare.
Oops. Sorry about that. The bill was so impressive and the entrance was so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking.
In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year.
Oh, snap. That's cool.
I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill.
Ugh. I really am sorry.
Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less.
Christ. I mean, London's a scary place.
Beg your pardon? Who?
Oh, sorry, I don't know who that is.
Ah, good morning to you at this early hour. It is I,
Oh,
the
it's the cool
manliest
guy.
of men. Male
Dang.
strong heart.
Oh, yes, well,
Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial in the Old Bailey yesterday.
Tano sounds amazing. She hasn't bat an eyelid, even the presence of imposing Lord Strongheart.
Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation to British courtroom practices.
Oh, yes, it was very eye-opening, thank you.
And, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed.
Oh,
No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land.
thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now.
Darn tootin'. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem.
Another case? Already?
Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I?
It's just that yesterday's trial ended. Unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it.
What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for?
I don't know, the truth.
It was clearly evident that the truth was he's innocent.
Yeah.
It's fine, we already know. I'm just gonna skip for a little bit.
Yeah.
But man, what a first case, though, in England.
Yeah, jeez. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGildet really was innocent.
Mr. Naruhodo!
It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended.
Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer.
Sorry?
What do you mean, Lord Strongheart?
Magnus McGildet passed away immediately following the trial.
No!
What? Mr. McGildet is dead? Wow, the bird's away.
Yep. I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Yeah, thanks.
Gee, I'm sorry.
Thanks you could fit us into your schedule.
Jeez. This one keeps schedules. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead?
After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom.
Yes, of course. That was the scene of the crime, which Mr. McGildet had been accused of.
Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames.
No.
How could such a thing have happened?
Everyone's a clod, I guess.
That is being investigated as we speak. But already... The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGildet.
That's awful!
The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere.
The bailiff really needs to pay more attention.
And how could that have happened?
That is also being investigated as we speak.
Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGildet did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus.
Oh yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm. An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage.
But then who is Mr. McGildet talking about?
Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police.
What were you whispering back there?
Oh, nothing. I was just saying, like, I don't know, just, how could they not, like, notice about anything that was happening with Mr. McGillet saying, like, oh, I'm gonna go check the omnibus. Like, why would you let him in there, though, if he's not supposed to be in there?
Who's to say? So,
Yeah.
how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was, wow.
You have a way with words, Mr. Naruhodo.
Mr. Naruhodo
thanks.
means that the whole experience was seeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old.
Wow. Susato has such a way with words.
Oh, you do too. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones.
Oof.
Rack.
The
Okay.
judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can.
The most advanced in the world, is it?
It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Yeah, simple.
Uh-huh. Very
Jeez.
simple? That was simple?
As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose.
I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple.
circumstances of the case were so incriminating. I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny?
No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much at least is an undeniable truth.
I mean, to be fair, you were able to turn the jury, like, right back around from being completely guilty to being like, well, maybe not.
That is true.
Which is precisely why I prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before.
What's going on? What was he going to say before? I don't know.
Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned?
Don't tell me. It's a murder, and the trial starts in 10 minutes.
Why, how did you know?
What? No!
Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different.
Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind?
Not just me, but apparently Miss Susato can as well.
Are you guys psychic?
Yes. That is to say, no one has died. As yet. And the trial will not be today. There's plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise.
Oh, hey, we have a day. Wow,
Okay.
how generous, a whole day.
Cool. So the trial's tomorrow then. Joy.
Is everything alright?
Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all.
Well, what else is new?
Yesterday's trial was... well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo.
I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilda's trial.
I got bad news for you.
Ah, criminy Christmas.
Yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case.
What? That the guy that was being, like, you know... the guy who's being accused of whatever is actually, we don't know if he's innocent or not, we'll never know he's gonna die. Is that the similarity?
Please, don't let it be another one of those.
Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense.
Okay. Oh.
If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow without the defendant, with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome.
The most terrible end awaits the defendant.
Yes, that's right.
Here we go again. Ah, shoot.
Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking.
So you keep reminding us.
There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits.
Last time you mentioned 23 hours, you said there was plenty of time.
And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you.
Oh, what's that?
Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asuki.
Kazuma.
I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds.
Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world works so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing.
Oh,
Another thing. Continue.
On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me.
there's something very important that I have to do.
Something very important. And what exactly would that be?
He never had the chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he ever made
You're
to
out of
Great
time.
Britain. Flapjacks.
Thank you for enlightening Thank you for enlightening discussion.
Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr.
I
Asuka
don't
never
know.
once mentioned anything of the sort to me. Huh.
But you're not his best friend.
I am his judicial assistant.
But that's not the same as best friend. Now, come on.
I urge you
Yeah, this-
both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of this case. He was a level 4 monster, so I didn't attribute anything. That's a Yu-Gi-Oh joke. He'll be able to apprise you the details. I can't read my lines. Darn it.
How long has he been there? Freaking lurch.
So, I wish you the best of luck, and bid you farewell.
There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean?
I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we'd better talk to the detective, don't you think?
Yes, you're right.
I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's talk to him.
Hey, brother, how you doing? Could we trouble you?
What do you think?
Ah! Lovely weather, isn't it?
What's really got to do with anything?
Ah!
Listen to me, young Japanese upstart. Some
What?
frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hand, you know.
Mrs. Son told me it was foolproof.
I'm a busy man, a very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to.
Oh, I'm ever so sorry.
Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? Haven't
I
seen
don't-
Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because some bumpkin who's here on a jump from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation of the yard going to tatters. And I'm eating taters.
That actually looks pretty good. There's no need to rip us apart as well.
I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer.
Yeah?
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. So, it's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it?
It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine.
Unbelievable. How'd you pull that off?
So, Lord Strongheart asked me to fill you in the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard.
Gregson? Inspector Gregson?
I thought it was Gadget. What's the matter with Susato-san?
Go Go Gadget Potato Munchies!
What? Oh, does this detective's name mean something to her?
Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson?
Dang, I want
You're
lunches
acting like
now.
you know this man.
Whoa, whoops.
Whoa.
That's you.
Hey, you're acting like you know this man, Mrs. Sato. But he's a London detective.
Oh, I do know him. Very well, in fact.
Very well.
Yes, he features prominently in the Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes.
Oh, and that publication. What's it called again? Rance Magazine?
That's right. Although I think it's called Ronst. Inspector
Oh.
Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry.
Really? Jeez!
Oh.
I'm
I wish it would've
hijacking
showed up.
everything! It did
I
show
wish
up,
it
I
would've
just got
sho-
ahead of
Yeah.
myself.
Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time.
Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of the bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. I don't know if that's...
I don't know this. That's his highest praise.
Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see.
That he is not, and thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now.
That's great, isn't it?
I have to admit that to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and the reputation of the yard went through the roof.
Well, that's wonderful.
No, it is not! There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure.
Rumors?
Are you quite sure?
He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that.
Oh.
Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you?
Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folk are like. And I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs.
Dude, I could go for eggs.
I want a scrambled egg. I like sandwich
Some
with
cheese
sausage.
and some salt and pepper.
Yeah, and some pancakes on the side. Anyway,
Yes. Maybe some toast. Wait.
maybe some orange juice. Maybe I don't know. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work.
Guess you'll be working for the next, game or so.
Ugh.
Oh dear. Perhaps the sunrise of fame does change people.
So, about the case that Lord Chief Justice mentioned before.
None to tell, really. As far as we're concerned, the yard, it could be simpler.
Oh dear. That probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it could be more complicated.
I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right.
A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in the hospital, unconscious.
That's despicable! What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind?
I suppose you would have finished whoever was off as this auto takedown, wouldn't you? Or would you?
That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo.
Brace yourself, Urinosuke. You've angered her now.
Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest.
So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit?
Yeah, he was standing there,
Oh, well, I mean, that's just...
with a sign saying, "I did it."
Perhaps
Dang,
rely
that
on a
is
witness who
weird.
reckons the person in question.
Could you imagine, though?
Yeah, like, if you did something bad, you have, like, a sign over your head, like, permanently till someone catches you.
Yeah,
It's like,
I
I'm the one that did
stabbed
this.
so-and-so in the back at blah blah blah. Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one.
Sorry?
There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now.
Why ever not?
Simple.
Why ever not? Ugh.
The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Baruch von Zykes.
Oh!
Sounds like you've heard of him then. Dude.
No, man.
Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord von Zykes. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself.
The Reaper of the Bailey.
You know, Jesus don't fear the Reaper, but the people do.
Oh, I surely do. Lord Baruch von Zykes, who we faced in court only yesterday.
Mr. McGilda told us about him before the trial, didn't he?
He sure did. Yep.
Yep.
So how do you feel about von Zykes?
I don't know how to feel about him. Like, it seems like he wants to keep people like Mr. McGilda, like, I don't even know if he is innocent or not, like, off the streets, so London would be a good place, but I don't know. Honestly, I really don't. I have mixed feelings about him. I like him, but at the same time, Every time we try to present evidence, he always finds something else. Like, oh, you missed this though. How can you say he's innocent if he did this? I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's a fair point. Like, he does make fair points. I can't really be mad at him unless he did something bad behind the scenes. But so far, I haven't seen it. This Reaper of the Bailey's nickname. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty. Is that it?
Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector. In yesterday's trial against Lord Von Zykes, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
And what of it?
Oh, well, I think... that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant.
No, you really don't have a clue, do you?
What do you mean?
What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Magnus McGildy came a crop on that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you?
What are you saying?
Look, if Von Zykes could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. Or, you know, be a criminal, because that's forgery, for the most part. That's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic.
Whoa, what?
You know, like
The magic
fire,
user.
blizzard, thunder, black mages.
Ah, I want to be a black mage.
I'd have a good long think about that if I were you.
Why? It sounds cool. Are we really supposed to believe that?
Apparently, yes.
So
Right,
he uses
well,
magic.
I filled in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We'll still be carrying out a few investigations there.
Don't you wish you had a cup of french fries?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place.
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself.
You bred of a criminal already?
Well, we're awfully good at that at the yard. He's as good as. Checking like a leaf in his cell, he is. He'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way.
Inmate 53. Thank you. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say.
They say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yeah, I don't want to get burned alive.
Oh, don't worry, as long as you're not the one being, you know, accused of murder or anything, I think you'll be fine.
Oof.
To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too.
But if the man they arrested is innocent, you can well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the other side of that funny.
So,
If I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure I'll be able to help this man, wherever he is. But I'd like to try, so I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help?
did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant.
Thank you. So then, shall we?
Yes, let's go!
Please don't throw me. Yeah, I'm scared.
Oopsie, wrong button. Oh, right, okay, I'm done.
Well, let's go to prison.
Oh, I knew I would end up here sooner or later.
Oof.
For what? I don't know.
You've been accused of murder, but the evidence is somehow stacked against you as well.
Wow. So these are British prison cells. Cold and lonely.
Oh, they're ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon.
Yes, having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls.
Oh, Don't, Mr. Naruhodo, you're making it seem worse.
It is worse. Apparently, our client is in this cell here. It's so dark in the back there. Can't make him out. I wonder what he's like.
Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop eyeing the back of the cell and show your face at once.
Am I a cat? As yet with no name? Calling me by a number. It's utterly unbelievable, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer. Mr. Naruhodo, what? What do you think is going on in here?
I have no idea. But I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints wasn't Japanese. You will? Excuse me, but
Quiet!
the frick?
They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it.
Can you say nervous wreck?
I sure can. Right. So,
There you are! You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost.
A ghost? I didn't think my skin was that pasty white.
We mean you no harm, prisoner-son. Are you Japanese, by any chance? This is beyond my wildest dreams!
Brother, what is wrong?
Apparently everything.
Jeez.
Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all.
Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am in a frightful fix in a foreign land! So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment!
Dang, he JoJo poses too.
I call them Ginyu poses!
Oh, snap. Who could have guessed this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us?
Would be a total
Would
nut
be-
job. I mean,
Yeah, or a fellow Japanese. Not nut
Oh.
job.
What
But-
compassion my fellow countrymen show! I'll totally forget the fact you were speaking to yourself and calling me a nutjob. Dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon!
A first-class lawyer? Oh dear. I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here.
gee, you think.
I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example? Yes, I can! I will! Shan't stay sullen and silent!
That is more Ginyu than JoJo.
I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy.
Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I'm a lawyer, as he said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
And I'm Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Suzuto Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notoriously named Natsume! Sosuke Natsume.
Guy's weird. Sosuke Natsume is son? What an unusual name.
Call me Sosuke, please. I'm a poet, you see. A writer of haiku. I'm something of a nom de plume.
A nom de plume? You mean an alias?
That's right, Naruhodo-san. No! Don't be so prosaic! It's much more refined than that!
And haiku, that really reminds me of home.
Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First I had to suffer that misery, and now this! It's beyond the pale!
Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here?
No! I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course.
Oh,
But just because the government tells you to do something doesn't mean you can do it? No! What do you mean?
what? Yeah, I'm
If
confused
they
too.
told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. By the way, I hope you're not getting tired of him doing that, because, well, if you are, I have bad news.
No, I kind of find it entertaining, just a little weird. But I'm fine. And I see.
Only the other day, I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words of whitewashy! On, not of! See? English is hard! Even though I'm speaking Japanese canonically, so I have no excuse. You must be a man of great standing. Oh yes! So I'm often told.
I'd also like to be told, it seems.
Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Sosuke-san? I didn't do it! I didn't commit that atrocious murder!
Murder?
It's not
I
murder
thought you
yet!
Yeah, I thought you said the girl was fine.
Murder? Oh, no, it's alright. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes! Before your eyes? Whoopsie, sorry, that's your line.
Oh, that's fine. You mean you saw the attacker?
I didn't see anyone. Huh?
What?
If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse! The curse of London! It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient!
So Sosuke-san was there at the scene, but you didn't see the attacker.
It's vital that we find out more about the case. This guy's gonna
Yeah.
wear me the frick out.
Oh dear. Yeah, he looks exhausting just to be.
It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings.
Sure, the bookshop wasn't a curse too.
As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman, wearing a green overcoat she was, and as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. How terrible! I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard!
Slight exaggeration there, perhaps?
Nonsense! I don't exaggerate anything. I was
Oh, okay.
terrified. I had to go away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. So I wonder, who saw him to pin it?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. That's not good.
They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Sosuke-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous! Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English? And a young woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people! Clearly not, you're yelling at everyone.
I see. A young woman unknown to Sosuke-san. And at the same time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you?
Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul.
No one? Oh, great.
So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else in the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it?
What conundrum? What do you mean, Sasato-san? What's the conundrum?
Well, if what Sosuke-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then, he apparently fled without having been seen. I did!
But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit?
Ah! You! What did you just say?
I didn't... Nothing! I didn't say anything! Oops. Perhaps I thought a little loudly. I need to stop doing that.
Actually, that's not what's troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Sosuke-san actually come to be arrested? Exactly.
Yeah, so
If
that
he
means
didn't see
someone must have
anyone,
been
he
there.
didn't know him, who saw him?
Who? Sorry? Oh, come on,
He didn't touch the
Inosuke.
victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how'd the police ever discover that he was there in the first place?
Oh yes, she's right.
It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me! Of all the bad luck!
A cursed great detective. Could it be?
Who else?
Oh.
I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live! With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, big-headed busybody, begone! May you be cursed in the end of your days, Hairlock Sholmes! Well, there we go again with Hairlock Sholmes.
I knew it! Oh. Well, he did the same thing to me.
Mr. Sholmes? I guess he must have thought Sosuke was Russian or something.
Yeah. Hairlock. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure.
It was the morning after that nightmare unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through my door. They started shouting at me! This is the police! Put the weapon down! Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon! Disgusting dietary discrimination devils!
You clearly had a trying morning yesterday.
And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Hairlock Sholmes!
It's actually just Erlock Sholmes. He's English.
I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Whew. Oh, getting a little lightheaded from how loud he is. Yes,
Yeah.
the great detective is really very well known. And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman! Me? This weak, stooped kitten of a man! Just like you, Patu, a kitten!
But I'm no kitten. Oh, well,
Your PFP
actually,
would
yeah.
argue against.
Yeah, I guess I am a kitten. Whoops. Do I wonder what great deduction or process led him to this conclusion this time?
Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. But not unlikely.
Nope.
Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English!
Oh, yeah, that's not fair.
Fiendish foreign through flamery!
Yeah, I mean, that's not fair. Can't say that. Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English.
Good point. Good point. But my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes I do, and I'm fine. The next thing I knew, I was in manacles. Before I knew it, I was starting. Oh, so by your own accidental admission of guilt.
Ah.
Dear, I'm afraid. That's hardly surprising.
I'm fine. He's not fine now.
I'm fine! Man, that's a reference to like a much later Ace Attorney game. Well, not reference, but a much later Ace Attorney game will have a character saying that. Mr. Naruhodo Squire!
Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. And when we're speaking English, a simple Mister is more than enough.
Oh, yes, alright. Yes, they've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, we don't know what really happened, but what do you think, though? Do you think he did it, or do you think he's innocent?
He seems to, what is the right word for this?
Innocent?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't know what the word would be either.
He seems too expressive to have done it, if that makes any sense. He's, I don't think he did.
Why? Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me?
Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour.
Oh, a student?
I've defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. I mean, that is true.
Yeah. Oh, Naruhodo-san.
I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here.
Rest in peace.
I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose.
But that armband! That's the mark of defense lawyer from our great empire!
It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend.
A keepsake? I'm screwed, aren't I?
Unbelievably.
I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh, who do you mean? The lawyers. All the British defense lawyers. They won't defend me. Goodness. Why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around. I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit.
Must be very hard for you, Sosuke-san.
And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them. Someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before. In my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any try for this man would be a waste of time, they said. And of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say, the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway.
That's awful.
They're wrong! I studied more English than half the policemen out there on the streets! I traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history! But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me! So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it. Couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through.
Sosuke-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can, for the time being.
What do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Oh yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you, locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for.
Sheesh. I swear, some of this stuff is pretty heavy, I will say.
Yep.
Like, frack, man. I mean, I guess we have to suspend him. Maybe.
Yes, we do. Maybe. Welcome to Briar Road.
Man, sure is chilly out here. So this is where it happened. Briar Road.
Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak.
That is their job, you know?
But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicting the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamed I'd ever come this close. To reel Bobby's helmet.
What? The helmet?
Of course. I have to try on one these days.
Well, I hope your Hattie dream comes true.
Hey, Gregson.
It's Mr. Trips, man.
What's the Japanese delegation doing here?
Oh, Inspector Gregson.
This isn't on the tourist trail, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware.
Yes, of course. We're here to investigate.
So you've been in the holding cells then? What do you make of the criminal?
He's not a criminal as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect.
We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose.
It's not fair.
Well, do what you will. Doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens, and the verdict's a foregone conclusion.
The stone-cold air of rejection.
Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone-cold air.
That makes it worse somehow.
Let's see. We need to talk to this guy.
Talk to the bloke.
Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place.
The Yard is the most sophisticated police organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am.
Oh, and you know I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet.
It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city.
Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful?
Being a London Bobby is hard going, I can tell you.
Oh, really?
First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes round and rouses up the labourers on his beat so they can go off to their work.
What? He wakes people up?
Yup, wraps on their windows a long pole. Did it myself going back a bit.
Whoa.
I had no idea.
The Bobby works for the people of the town. This is one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's regulation distance. 20 miles.
Wow. I couldn't do that in this weather. I would freeze to death. I can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way.
I have no idea when this is coming out on the channel, but right now it's like spring, so when you said that, I was like, in the springtime? How are you gonna freeze to death? But I realized you're talking about in the context of winter. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
oh yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, if it was like early spring, yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. Or winter, actually.
Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama.
On foot? That's definitely take things a step too far.
And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps.
Oh my.
And I suppose in between all those duties, Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well.
And chase after criminals trying to evade the law.
I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly. More alongside, but yes. And they're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I admit.
Yeesh.
I always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I sought to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Huh? Your heavy heart will beat my heavy head if you do.
It happened around 5 in the evening, 2 days ago. Just there, an open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind.
Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned she was being treated in a hospital.
I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes round pretty smartish, we won't be able to find out much about her at all.
I suppose that means that it even be able to take a statement from her, of course.
Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want.
Really? Are you sure?
It's yard policy to give lawyers defending suspects the odd bit of information to go on.
I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still.
Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept. Alright. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, we can look at our evidence anytime as well during investigation segments, so just let me know if you want to look at anything.
Alright.
Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else in the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head scratcher, is it?
Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming not to have seen anyone else around, but...
But just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present.
Now, I'm sorry to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure.
How?
Because, ma'am, the precise one that stabbed him didn't go unnoticed.
What?
We have two very reliable witnesses, no less.
Ah!
Are you offering your chips?
No, these are mine!
Ah,
It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them.
there were witnesses now?
So we went from Mr. Natsume not being able to see anyone and there being no one around to all of a sudden 2 witnesses.
Jeez Louise. Who are these witnesses, Inspector?
A fellow and his wife, and the man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard.
Ah!
A policeman? That might change things.
And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked?
Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of being a bobby, catching them banging the act and all.
I didn't think they were banging, I think they were getting stabbed.
Yeah, I don't think they used a gun. Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions?
Be my guest. You can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow.
Oh.
I've no doubt it'll be something as a witness. That was a good O, by the way. And I was like,
Yeah, that's kind of genuine. It's like, oh, wait, we can ask him right now. It's like, oh, okay.
So,
I guess
that'll
we
give you
don't.
something to look forward to.
That's that then. He's got no idea of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems.
A policeman witnessed the incident. As a judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed.
You don't have to tell me twice. Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Whoops!
What'd you...
I almost fell.
You almost fell?
Yeah, I got up to see what some noise was at the tent, and then I almost fell out of my chair.
Dude.
Anyway, oh yes, one more thing, Inspector.
What?
Where are your gadgets? The person who led you to the suspect.
Confidential.
I hear that was Mr. Herlock Sholmes?
What are you bringing him up for?
Was there something I said? The color streaming from his cheeks.
That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. Are you going to defend him or not?
Well,
It makes no difference to me, but I'll just say this. No London lawyer with his sword would touch that case with a barge pole.
because the prosecution is handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean?
There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It is all a bit strange, though.
Sorry?
The Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now.
Yes, we did hear something to that effect.
That is weird.
And the only people he usually bothers with are the real scum. The master criminals, and the violent ones.
What, master criminals?
So he suspects McGilda's a master criminal.
Oh.
The violent ones?
That's right. He handpicks his victims. Only deals those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins.
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely.
That's just my point, sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase.
Well, this is not exactly a minor infraction, is it?
No, there's gotta be more to it. For some reason he's taken an interest.
That is weird.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
You think I can tell what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial.
Are we really gonna have to face the Reaper again? Lord of Darkness, as you put it.
Who did you hear that name from?
Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsu who mentioned it. He said that that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when he entered his lodgings.
I'm sure it was a result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great... Yeah, inspirational,
Fiddle faddle! The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him shoving his mug everywhere. And showing it, too! Shoving and showing.
Man, he shows everybody. He has no tact.
No sense of decency, I tells ya.
Shame.
I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turned up the scene of the crime when he's around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case!
Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he?
That's one way to put it.
He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Gibble gabble!
Oh,
Ever seen this before?
don't say that to a young woman. Oh yes, that's Ron's magazine, or Rant's.
Ronst, I believe.
Ron's, okay.
The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes appears.
Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include Scotland Yard's detectives in its stories. And the so-called Great Detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask him in the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Sherlock Sholmes tale at all.
Oh.
Well, I suppose there is an element of that.
We work our socks off, every one of us, only be thrown by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us as Scotland Yard as he is to all our criminals.
That can't really be true, can it, Inspector?
Clearly the Great Detective and the police have a complex relationship.
Something like that.
Oof. Well, I don't think we're gonna get any more useful information out of the detective.
Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion?
Oh, yes. What is it?
Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this.
By him, do you mean
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Sholmes? Oh, here we go.
Yes, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, exactly.
Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you?
Honestly, I can't either. I love Sherlock Sholmes in this so much.
Well, Mr. Natsu did blame Mr. Sholmes for all of this, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet Mr. Sholmes again.
Sure.
Sure it isn't. The trouble is, you have no idea of the man's
In
address.
Baker Street!
How do you know that?
It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world.
Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We better try and find our way there before Sasasa gets any more exciting and unpredictable.
Hurrah! I'll summon a carriage.
So, we're to have a reunion already. With the great detective, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes.
You don't sound so excited. Wonder what that is.
Can you tell my voice? Sholmes sweet.
I sure am.
Oh, I forgot he still has that sword.
Thank you very much. It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day.
Thanks again. This is it. The residence of Mr. Sherlock Sholmes.
course, that's not just any sword, it's basically Kazuma's soul at this point. Karuma.
I wonder if it'll make an appearance just like in, what's the name of that anime? I forgot what it was.
Huh?
Shoot. There was some anime that did the same thing as well. Like, you turn the spirit into, like, a sword, and you can, make the, spirit of that person turn into your weapon to help you fight.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Forgot what that was.
It's Shaman King.
Shaman King? I've heard of that, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, because, like, the kid can, like, channel spirits and, like, he uses the sword to fight with.
Oh.
Yeah.
I need to look at that. Huh. Okay.
Welcome to Sholmes' Suite. It sure is sweet, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is why the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow.
Excuse me.
Is it as described in the stories, Miss Susato? Susato-san?
Many, many famous cases have been solved here in this very room.
Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I've never read the story, so it's hard to get quite as excited about them as he seems to be.
The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it! The romanticism! Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, I suppose I can, yes.
So, if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please, don't mind me.
Ah, she's obsessed. Well, looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, anybody home?
Oh, do we have a visitor? Hello. Is it a big new case for Mr. Sholmes?
Hello? Wait. Aren't you...
Oh, how rude of me. I'll go and make some tea at once.
I don't want tea. I want cocoa. I'm sure it's the same girl. Mrs. Sato, did you see who the girl was just here?
Oh yes, isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case.
The King of Bohemia? Uh-huh.
King Wilhelm Gottstrich Sigismund von Ormstein, of course.
What the... Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Sherlock Holmes for a moment and look over there.
The tea's brewed, and I have a freshly baked cake as well. Ah, it's you!
I knew it. The son recognized it too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that girl. It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGillis' trial in the defendant's, antechamber.
I've never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Poor you, having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London.
Oh, yes, it was challenging.
That's one way I put it.
Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know?
Oh, thank you. Is this tea supposed to look that color?
Are you judging things based on its color?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to get sick.
Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray! It's a winner! I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your very long voyage here. And you have another tickless trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. How do you know this already?
How do you know this? Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do you?
Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, surely.
Mr. Sholmes is a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he's just returned from overseas.
Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial. Only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think?
And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite? Oh, silly me. I haven't introduced myself, have I?
Nope.
Not at all. Who are you?
It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson.
Hey, Patu. Does that last name sound familiar to you?
Wilson? Isn't that the name of the other guy that, passed
John
away in the
H.
first
Wilson.
trial? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
The English professor.
I live here together with Hurley.
Iris, is it? What a lovely name.
What?
What's the matter?
No, wait. This can't be. Did you say your name is Wilson?
What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden?
Yes, that's right. And what are your names?
Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan.
Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Susie and Runo. Got it. Susie?
And Bruno? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her, I don't know where to start.
Yes, and so do I.
Well, the good news is we don't have to worry about bothering with, Herlock.
Yeah, I mean, what should we start with first?
Okay.
See, it was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey?
Yes, that's right. You're ever so helpful. Thank you so much. Oh no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming.
Though at the time, we did have a rather large gun pointed at us. Yeah, that thing.
Oh, this one?
No,
Like
no,
this?
No.
Thinking back now, you learned with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you?
Oh yes, that awkward witness. Gina Lestrade.
Oh, Ginny? Yes, she's a professional pickpocket.
So we found out.
It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that.
Are you referring to the trial disrupting gun-like contraption?
Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions.
This girl's dangerous.
Anyway,
cool, though.
I brought Ginny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician.
Sorry, you're a technician?
Hurley, of course, silly. Hurley? Yes, Herlock. Herlock Sholmes. We live here together.
I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter.
Daughter? Not likely.
What?
I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I?
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't.
Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes? Well, I expect you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate.
You're roommates?
I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you? 10 at least. 10 at last this year.
Well, what if your brother and father?
Oh, no. They're not around.
Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is here. I think we know, though.
Oh yes, there's something I must ask you. Of course, of course. Go ahead, Susie. I'm a very great fan of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, and... Oh! You have a copy of a Rounce magazine! Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh, this is so exciting! My stories are being read on the other side of the world. Her stories.
Your stories?
She's 10!
Wow, my stories?
That's right. Hurley is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think? Goodness. Last night, he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from a faraway Oh, we know that one!
Yeah, I was in it.
So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came. So you are the author? Yes. I'll let you on a secret if you like. I'm going to call this last adventure The Speckled Band.
The Speckled Band? That's certainly familiar.
Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories, here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble.
Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thoughts as well, actually.
Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think. Don't you? So, do you mean to say, are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in the Ron's magazine all written by me? Yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter. But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson.
Society sounds getting more and more worked up. Uh-oh.
Yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson. But what of the doctor of medicine part? That's all true, too. I am a doctor of medicine.
No! At 10 years old?
At 10 years old.
Wow. Well, that's quite incredible.
But, Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. Yes. I did alter the setting slightly, for the stories to be more compelling. Oh. Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow? Now you mention it.
Yeah, I mean,
suppose it does, yes.
I don't know. Could be a Westcott apprentice. Poor Sasato-san. Looks like our whole world has just fallen apart. How about before?
Yes? What's on your mind, Reno? Do tell me.
No, I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean.
Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How'd you know all of that? Oh, that's what you mean. Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail. Of course, I'd be delighted. Although, there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin. Iris wasn't as proud to present her Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Man, how's that sound familiar?
Oh, you got one.
First of all, I knew already that you were a lawyer, Bruno. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defense antechamber.
He also said that we only just arrived in London. How did you know that?
I have sort of passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
Oh.
So I was reasonably confident you must have only just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs.
The Reaper of the Bailey. I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet the suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. Ah. They use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see. I didn't realize. And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, that told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGilded, the two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see.
But how could you have known the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home for a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him, He told me they caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling.
Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been...
Mr. Natsume. Now, Reno has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both came from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about this case. Man, her reasoning spectacular is actually logical and has reasoning behind it.
Jeez Louise, we should have her as our partner.
For real.
We'd be unstoppable.
There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley is always stabbing his nose with a knife, you know. He is silly. And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions.
And great it was.
Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on.
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
You even managed to certain something old Mr. Sholmes' delivery.
Oh, well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that. This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please.
Please, 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 please. We don't even have to see him, but still. So yesterday, Mr. Sholmes had apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying.
Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage. But the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene.
Ah, the great detective is a popular man, it seems.
Apparently a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking, stooped man running away from the scene. A short, shifty-looking, stooped man. Mr. Nuts...
Mr. Natsume beyond any doubt.
I need to take it slower a little bit. Jeezums.
I mean, there's lots of lions flying around. I'm not surprised. Sosuke-san said that he didn't see anyone else on the street at all. And it seems that they were witnesses after all.
Hurley used his great detective powers to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room, very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what'd they find? A short, shifting-looking, stooped man, shivering in fear.
Ugh. Mr. Sholmes' great deductions certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course it did. He's a great detective.
Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it?
Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Hurley says that London is rife with crime.
Oh.
Scotland Yard is doing its best, but it can't stay on top of it, apparently. Oh dear, I hadn't realized the situation was so dire. Dire, Dorks. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person. That's terrible!
Yeah, that's a poor justice system.
I suppose it's a harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest judicial system.
I suppose it is. But in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Sosuke-san. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As you guessed, we'd like to ask him some questions about the case as well.
Well, I expect Hurley is still investigating the scene.
The case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Natsume? Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there. Iris, do you know where those lodgings are? Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson while you were there?
Yes, we know Inspector Gregson.
Ah, goody. In that case, give Gregsy this for me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure I'll tell you what you want to know.
What is this?
A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems. Okay.
Oh, okay, okay.
It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem." Gosh, doesn't make the inspector help us, will it?
Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try.
Good luck then. I'm going to return to write my manuscript, The Speckled Band. I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon. We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime.
So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all. We headed back to the scene with Iris' curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. Oh.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to head back over there, but okay.
Well, we are in the next chapter. But that's it for this one, so thank you all so much for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe, check the link in the description, keep an eye out for community posts, and as always, we'll see you then.
See you then.